you?
I think I got it.
Okay, if you need a link, I can send that to you.
Are we live now?
I'm not seeing it show up. Oh, we gotta mute it.
We're live.
It looks like it's showing up now. Yeah, there it is.
Hi, anybody?
Hello, the YouTube world. Disregarding Henry here with another episode of Vidya Drone with
Jesse Franco / Jace.
Notorious filmmaker Jace.
His crazy antics and strange movies. Hopefully, at least someone had looked at the stuff that I had to link last time.
Yeah, hopefully.
If anybody does, maybe someone can weigh in a little bit and say, "Hey, you did a movie. I watched your things."
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, go ahead and just post. What did you do last time? You were just post the name of your channel or the name of the videos.
Unfortunately, I can't put a link on the thing here.
Yeah, I don't think they allow that anymore on the YouTube stuff.
That's silly. Doesn't look like there's anybody watching yet.
Let me see. It says there's 3 viewers. I think one of them is me.
I think the other one is me as well.
So we got one person watching.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well,
I can share it on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too. Let me what's this?
Always wants to share on a bunch of other Facebook pages.
There we go. Live with Disregarding Henry. And my face is
oh, in the thumbnail?
Thumbnail.
You got your face in the thumbnail?
Because I'm more important on this thing. Because I'm the special guest.
You glory grabbing son of a
dog. There doesn't seem to be anybody showing up yet.
Well, you want to just I kind of have a time limit on this one. I think probably by 7:30 at the latest. I'm gonna have to get out of here.
Yeah, let's go. That sounds good for me.
Okay, yeah, because been wanting to see Isle of Dogs. Didn't get to see it last night.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and told some friends that yeah, I'd show up tonight. We'd see it.
Yeah, no worries. Well,
we're house sitting a cat right now too, so there's a little cat running around too.
Show it.
If I can get her in here.
Cats will bring views.
Yeah, get a million views with the cat.
Just have a cat there. It's like, a billion views.
I don't know where she is. It's one of those hairless cats too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Never really seen one in the flesh before. They're interesting.
They're apparently hairless dogs too.
They're what?
They're apparently hairless dogs too.
Oh, hairless dogs. Interesting.
Yeah. There's like I think it's like it's a Peruvian species that I guess they're all bald.
She's not coming. I think she's found other things to do.
Well, I'm going to look up on Blu-ray and see what is new on Blu-ray release.
Okay. Find something to discuss there. Because I haven't really... I don't think I've seen anything in theaters since I did the last stream.
Since the last one, I saw Hereditary.
Oh, yeah, which we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, which was quite a surprise that I liked it as much as I did.
Yeah.
Usually when most modern horror movies I'll watch, I'll be like, it's okay. I can get that it might be scary for some people, but Hereditary was like legit, like creepy.
Really got to you?
Yeah, it succeeded in pretty much every way that I was hoping a good horror movie would do.
Nice.
It's just been so long since I've seen anything like that. The last one I really saw, I think, was I think The Witch.
Oh, which was, what year was that? Was that like 2015?
I think it technically was released in 2016, but it was a festival run in 2015, but it got a wide release in 2016.
Okay. So it wasn't that long ago.
The other one that disturbed me the most was Green Room.
Green Room was intense, yeah.
And I think what was crazy is that I'm in that movie. I had no idea.
Oh, that's right. You want to tell the story again?
So, like, I remember my friend, who was it? I don't think anybody you know. I know Bill was there, but someone was like, "Hey, I somehow found a way to get into the onto the set of this new movie being filmed here." And I'm like, "Okay, I've done that before. I've been an extra before. Wonder who's in it." And then when I find out that Patrick Stewart is in it, I immediately just zipped on over there, and I was looking for like the holding area for like an hour and a half of this giant lot. I had no idea where I was supposed to go because I lost communication with everybody. And then I wandered into one random building. And
was it like in the middle of nowhere, like in the woods?
No, not really. It was actually kind of a little bit by where I live, kind of like down on 212. There's a bunch of it was all a soundstage. That whole was all interior was a soundstage. The exterior, I don't know where they filmed that, but all like the stuff.
Oh, okay.
And the band, that was all on a soundstage.
Wow.
As soon as I walked on set, I hear Patrick Stewart's voice. It was like a wolf. It was like it just like it traveled throughout the entire building. And I'm like, okay, I've made up my mind. I'm gonna be right in front of him. And I'm gonna talk to Patrick Stewart. And, I went up and I signed in. And like, your name's not on here. And I'm like, oh, whoops. And then they're like, we can't let you in. So I'm like, darn. I obviously went in. Just no one cared.
Yeah.
So I wandered in and I kind of pushed my way through the crowd. There was a big audience for this the band scene, or the crowd. And I moved my way up to the very front of the stage, and all along Patrick Stewart's over the side. I had no idea he was going to come up on stage, but he does. He walks up on stage, and here's me and here's him, and literally there's no one between the two of us. He's standing right in front of me. In between takes, I would exchange comments with him, not necessarily conversations, but more just like wisecracks or whatever. And, I could tell he was trying to just kind of keep focused on the scene, but I definitely got to say that I exchanged words with him. And then I didn't know what this movie was. Like, I had no idea. I heard.
Oh yeah, it's just something like you showed up for.
Yeah, and that Patrick Stewart was in. And then when I finally, like a year later, I was kind of kept track of it, and then I see the name Green Room, and it's a wide release. I'm like, really? It's not a TV movie? This is a wide release? And then I saw the movie, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is awesome. I got to be part of this. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was in until I saw it.
That's really cool. I'm sure they didn't care, having you there. They get more extras, you know?
Yeah, they just didn't want to pay me.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone was getting paid, and if it wasn't like called in, they wouldn't. Basically, they said they couldn't pay me. Their way of saying, you can leave if you want to, but if you stay, just know you're not going to get paid. So I just doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not here for money.
Yeah, low budget movie.
Yeah,
you're not getting paid.
Yeah. But and then I remember, I think that in one shot in the movie, I'm in there. I can't remember if I don't think I have my face in. I remember I see like the back of my head. Bill has a like a close, not a close up, but it's a wide, and he's the direct focus of the wide shot.
Oh wow! I'm definitely gonna have to watch that again. See if I can find you guys.
Yeah. Do you own it?
I don't own it. But I think it's what?
Bill owns it. Maybe you can loan it to him.
Oh, maybe. I know it's streaming on Amazon Prime, and my brother still has a Prime account. I think he's he's not going to renew it, so I don't know how much longer he's going to have it for. So I'll have to try and stream it again while I have the chance.
You should. But anyway, other than that, I haven't.
But
Really
it's during that concert scene, right, when they're playing for all the skinheads up on stage.
Yes, and it's two different shots that I'm in for two separate scenes. There's the first scene where they're playing the music, and then after the murder takes place, I come back, or
Really?
back to us, and then I'm in there a second time. But the second time I'm in there, you can barely tell it's me because I'm over the shoulder of the focus. So I think it's one of the, I think it's the girl, Imogen Boots.
Oh, yeah.
She was right in front of me, and I was behind her, and I'm out of focus.
So you're the blur over there.
Yeah. I didn't know who she was. I just thought she was just someone else. But it wasn't until I saw, what did I see? I saw a movie that she was in, and I'm like, wait a minute, she seems familiar. Oh, I was in a movie with her. Now I'm a fan of her. I think she's actually one of the more underrated indie actors.
She's been doing some really good stuff. Yeah, last couple of years.
What actually has she been up to?
I don't know what she's doing now, but I know I've definitely been seeing her in things. She was in a Michael Winterbottom movie that I thought was really good. I think Michael Winterbottom, just in general, is really underrated, but he did another movie with Steve Coogan, which he does a lot of stuff with Steve Coogan. They did like the Trip movies together with Rob Brydon, and then they also did an adaptation of Tristram Shandy that I thought was really funny that they did as like this mockumentary kind of thing. And then they did another one called The Look of Love, which was just a couple years ago, I think. And she was in that one. And that one I thought was really good too.
There's a movie that I just looked at was coming out that I've heard about, or maybe it's already been released, but I didn't really see anything about it. It's called I Kill Giants.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Apparently it was released in a couple of film fests last year, and I guess it got a internet release.
Okay.
Already. Like, I don't know what that means, but it says on IMDb it was released on the internet. But,
so like VOD maybe?
Yeah, but it looks interesting. It's like a fantasy drama, I guess.
Huh.
But she's in that.
Okay.
You know another movie I saw recently? Have you ever seen the movie I'm Not a Serial Killer?
Oh, you know what? I have a coworker at the coffee shop where I work who told me about this movie and was saying how much she loved it and that it's definitely one I should watch.
It's a crazy movie. I'm not quite sure what to compare it to. There's not a lot of movies like it, because it's not a horror film, and it's not like a genre horror film either. It doesn't deal with like vampires or aliens or anything like that, or at least it doesn't tell you what's happening. But it's just something new that I've never seen before, of a trope. I don't know. Check it out. You might actually appreciate it. It's very. It's not really mainstream kind of horror. It's definitely in the realm of like The Witch or Hereditary.
Oh, okay. So more of an atmospheric kind of thing.
Not as good as those ones, obviously, but it's in the same vein. And I don't even know how to describe it. I guess you'd call it like maybe just more of a supernatural mystery than it would be a supernatural horror. But
I actually thought it was something different. I thought it was more of a realistic kind of movie.
it is.
Oh.
But it's hard to explain how it is. It's like a real world. Well, the thing is, I don't even know if it's supernatural or not. The movie doesn't really explain what exactly is going on. They just present you with information, and it's up to you to decide what it means, what's really going on. So you could even say it's not a supernatural thriller at all. You can just say it's just a mystery. But what you see in it, like physically seeing it, it comes off like a supernatural thriller. But it's never elaborated on. No one like explains what the things are. It's just they're just there, these elements, and you just kind of like accept it in the story. So it's, I guess, the way I figure is that they're trying to have it like more of like it meaning something else. Like you can just interpret it as something.
More like a metaphorical kind of thing.
I guess, but it was hard to tell what exactly it was supposed to be.
I'll have to see it. Sounds kind of interesting.
You might appreciate it.
What is that poster behind you?
Oh, the Spider-Man one?
Oh, it's Spider-Man. Which one?
I think it's Spider-Man 2. I don't know why I
Okay.
have that because I never watched the movie. I just had a poster and I'm like, yeah, I'll just put it. I rarely put posters on my walls.
You've never seen Spider-Man 2?
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. That's the one nobody likes, right?
And I guess because it's bad, but I've never seen it, so
I've got the guy I started doing Super Cinema Bros with, Rhett Flicks. He is a big fan of that movie and a diehard defender of it. I'll have to see if I can get him to talk about it one of these days because he loves the Spider-Man movies and he loves the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
well, everyone's got their preference.
Yeah, good for him. I see Zach Hayes in the chat. What's up?
Finally more viewers, sort of.
Yeah. I think
Maybe
because what?
we just streamed it at a bad time.
Yeah, I think normally I try to do them earlier because I think actually a lot of my viewers are in like the UK.
Oh, nice.
And I think now it's probably like the middle of the night or early morning there. So I think, yeah, a lot of the people that typically do tune in to these things are probably in bed by now.
Well, these kind of things are what I stay up for.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do in the dark of the night. Chatting
Yeah,
with folks on the internet.
you just scoured the internet.
Yes.
Oh, Zach Hayes, not doing anything much. Just got off work. Perfect timing for you. That's good.
Nice. So yeah, work and sleep, I imagine, was keeping people.
Yeah, probably. I never know what like the ideal time to stream is. That's why I used to do it on the weekends, but now I pretty much work every weekend, so it's not really ideal. Just streaming time for me anymore. I don't really have any days where I can say like, oh yeah, I can definitely do it this day consistently, or it's just kind of whenever I can fit it in, or schedule it with somebody else, you know.
Oh, Zach Hayes is in Texas.
Oh, Zach's in Texas. Okay. I never know, where any of these comments are coming from, where people are viewing from.
I know.
It's kind of hard to wrap my brain around that, like, oh, there's all these people all over the world, tuning in here and there.
You should do a poll next time when you have more viewers and just kind of see where your viewers are coming from. If it's mostly Europe or mostly United States or
Get the time of day from everyone.
Yeah, just so you can kind of compile that together and see what's like the most ideal time.
Yeah.
For everyone to at least have most people watching it.
Yeah, I should be more strategic about it. But I just got my mind on so many other things right now.
I'm the same way.
One of the last movies I watched that I was really impressed by, we actually didn't get a chance to talk about it the other day when we met up, but I just recently, for the first time, watched start to finish The Green Mile.
Really?
Yeah. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
One of your favorites? Yeah, I'm surprised. I knew the movie kind of that it had its fans, but I just saw that it was on Hulu, and they just recently put a bunch of Stephen King stuff up there. I'm also halfway through the TV movie version of It.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't finished that one yet, but I saw The Green Mile was on there, and that was a movie that I'd seen bits and pieces of, but I'd never actually, and I'd read the book years ago in high school, but I'd never actually seen the movie start to finish. So I was just like, I'll just throw it on. And it's a 3-hour movie, but it's really it's so well made. It's so well told. It's so engaging and so well acted that I found that just when I kind of threw it on, that after not much time at all, I was just kind of drawn in. And then I just found myself just kind of sitting down and paying attention to it. And then, just 3 hours went by that. And by the end, I was like, wow, I was really moved by it. And I was really just that was so much better than I was expecting it to be. And then I started looking online at kind of what the general reaction to it was, and I was surprised that like people really adore that movie. I'd never really known before.
Really?
Yeah.
Always known. I always heard that was like a modern classic. People refer to it as.
Oh, really? I guess I was out of the loop for all this time, but now I finally know.
I think it's like right up there with like Shawshank Redemption in terms of like prison movies.
Yeah, it's good. It's a really different kind of movie. Like it's really similar in a lot of ways, like same director, same author, based on a book, and yeah, a prison movie and a period piece, but they feel so different.
Yeah. What's also interesting about it is that it's such a huge story and a huge length and such an ultra realistic style, but it still has a fantasy sort of
Yeah.
kind of a supernatural, which I find I don't see that often. Where you, that's what I was talking about the other day with you, where we were talking what is slipstream fiction, and I think this one technically is categorized as a slipstream fiction.
I don't think we were talking about that.
We were talking about this a long time ago when we were doing.
Oh, we were
doing our first script together.
Oh, okay. I think I do remember that a little bit.
What genre was that we were writing, and I was like, "Oh, it's not really fantasy or sci-fi. It's or supernatural. It's more of like something else." It's like, "Oh, it's slipstream." And I actually looked up a couple of movies that fall into the slipstream genre, and there's quite a few of them actually. I've been always curious about this genre. It's a kind of an elusive. It's hard to define what exactly it means. Like you've heard of weird fiction, right?
Yeah, that was kind of like before there was really a horror genre. That was kind of like, yeah, stuff that incorporated elements of horror and gothic romance and science fiction often. It was, yeah, pretty much defined as weird fiction for a time. That's kind of what Lovecraft was known as back in his day in the early 20th century. He was kind of known as a weird fiction author. And it wasn't until later where like the horror genre became known as its own kind of genre and became defined and codified as its own thing.
As like a scary genre, basically, because weird fiction wasn't necessarily associated with like scaring people. I don't think.
No, I think it was like most of the weird fiction authors, and if you look at Weird Fiction magazine back in the day, where a lot of Lovecraft's stories were published, they often featured like monsters and horrific, subject matter, and I deliberately were like, yeah, trying to be suspense stories or tales of cosmic terror. It did have kind of this sensational, what we would now know as like a horror kind of aesthetic, but wasn't really at the time defined as horror. But I think, yeah, just because it had the weirdness of science fiction and like the outlandish concepts, but done in more of a sinister kind of way. Yeah, just for a time it was known as weird fiction, and then horror fiction and horror literature kind of became more of a genre, probably, I don't know exactly when, but probably sometime in the mid 20th century, after a few more authors had kind of like started writing in the same sort of vein as like what Lovecraft was doing. Because even if you go back to like Edgar Allan Poe, they were known more as like poets or authors of like in more of the Gothic tradition. Nothing was really known as horror at that time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other because kind of the next stage of weird fiction with a combination of science, fantasy, and supernatural, or like something of phenomena without being either of those three, would technically be the slipstream fiction. And so I was kind of fascinated of what movies actually do fall into that category. And the ones that I kind of found was like Groundhog Day, where there's no explanation for the phenomena. It's not really from magic. It's not from science or ghosts or anything. It's just a fluke. And
yeah, it's just a thing that happens.
Presented as, yeah, exactly. And he presents it. He doesn't try to figure out how to what it is or what's causing it. He just kind of like goes about it and just kind of has to deal with whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And so I find that kind of like to me like the most baseline example of what I think a slipstream fiction done correctly. The other one is being John Malkovich.
Yeah, that's a great one too. Yeah, it's always great when you have a really crazy concept like that. The less you explain it, the better.
Yeah.
Because even though they do, even though you in being John Malkovich, they develop kind of like this mythology around like why there's a portal into John Malkovich's head. At no point do they ever say why there's a portal or how there's a portal. It's just there is a portal and this is how it works.
Yeah. Which I find that like more fascinating than having like this big like backstory of it. And I don't know, it just doesn't make it as interesting when there's like too much explanation.
Yeah, it's just more fun when you can just get into whatever the meat of the story you're trying to tell is, rather than wasting too much effort, on trying to make it plausible or consistent.
Donnie Darko is another good example.
Which is one I don't really remember that well. I saw it a long time ago, in my teen years, and I remember not really caring for it, but it's one I've been very curious to go back to try again.
When I first saw it, I saw it like twice in a row because I was so blown away.
Oh, really?
But over the years, it's kind of lost a little bit of the magic that I when I first saw it, mainly because there's parts of it that are pretty silly and pretty dated.
Okay.
Like I just forgot that's a part in the movie where like he's got like this weird like water stream that like he can.
Oh yeah. I think I remember that.
That follows him to where the future is going to lead. But there's one point where the water it like forms a hand and it goes like this to him, and it's so like I forgot, like that's ridiculous. That's not even like is that supposed to be like, oh, what is it? Like this. It was so cheesy, and I did not remember that was in the movie. And as soon as I saw them, like, oh, I get the tone of this, especially when I started to see Richard Kelly's other movies like Southland Tales and The Box. I started realizing,
which have not gotten as good of a reaction. The subsequent films,
because I think Donnie Darko was a complete accident that it was as liked as it was. Because
you think?
Because if you listen to interviews about him trying to explain what the movie's about, Richard Kelly does not seem to know what the movie is. He tries to explain it and has all these theories, but like none of them make any sense, and they contradict each other. And sometimes he'll have other theories that he'll say this is the movie's about this, and other times he'll be like, actually no, it's about this. So what I see is that he doesn't actually have any idea what the movie's about.
That's okay though. It doesn't mean it's bad.
No, yeah, but the fact that the movie was as well loved as it is, I think, is a complete just how the movie is about a fluke. I think it was just a complete fluke that the movie was turned out to be a cult classic. Mainly because it's just so weird. I think people are drawn to the weird.
Yeah. I think there was. I think it's less so now. There was once upon a time where I think people got really hooked on films that didn't really give you any of the answers, that were very strange and obtuse, and that kind of left it all up to the audience to try and figure out what's going on. Because I feel like a lot of those kinds of movies came out around the same time. There was like Memento, there was Mulholland Drive, there was Donnie Darko, which were these movies that people would just watch over and over and over and over again, and they would try to deconstruct and analyze and figure out every single little thing to work out like exactly what happens in the movie and why. It seems like those kinds of movies, for whatever reason, there were a lot of those kinds of films coming out around the same time.
Hell.
And there was a real attraction to that kind of stuff. It seems like now those kind of movies really don't do as well. People are obsessed with like, oh, there's an inconsistency here. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Or, oh, I don't understand what's happening here. They kind of want everything just fed right to them. It's like, you have movies that come out, and if they have like an ambiguous ending, like the day those movies are released, you've got all the YouTube videos showing up of like ending to this movie explained, or like people wouldn't even go see Mother until they'd seen like Mother explained and analyzed. It's like, oh, okay. It seems like people no longer really have that attitude where it's like they want to see something really strange and mysterious and then just try to figure it out for themselves.
Right.
They just want it all spoon-fed. I'm a little disappointed in that.
What's also interesting about Mother, because I liked the movie because it was just so off the wall.
Yeah, I like it too.
But I got it very quickly. But it was trying to make it seem like it was like this deep sort of like you have to guess what's actually happening. What really kind of killed the whole thing for me is that Darren Aronofsky, with the week it was released, had an interview and he explained everything, what he was trying to say about it. And it's kind of like, don't do that, man. Don't explain everything. It just makes the movie kind of pointless when you try to make this big metaphorical thing and then you say exactly what the metaphors are. It makes the metaphors kind of pointless. Just present it to the audience and let them figure it out. Don't explain your own movie to them. And
I just feel like people demand that now.
I don't know why. It's I don't like when I like having things sort of explained, or at least they give me enough information that I can try to figure it out myself. But
Yeah.
I hate when everything is explained for me.
Yeah. I honestly, like, some of my favorite movies are ones that I still don't even really understand. Like, one of my all-time favorites is Denis Villeneuve's Enemy. I couldn't tell you really. I wouldn't even know where to begin to tell you like what that film's about. I've seen it probably at least 5-6 times, and I still don't really have any theories, and I don't really have any interest in developing any theories. I just love that the movie is such a strange dream, such a strange mystery. It's compelling, it's hypnotic to me, and I like that I have no idea what it's about. That's kind of one of the things that attracts me to it and obsesses me with it. I can just watch it over and over again, just be like, yep, still don't get it, but damn, I love it.
I've watched it a couple times, and I think I got the general idea of what it's trying to say.
Oh yeah?
But
Okay.
the only thing that kind of not confirm that, but to help me kind of like piece that thought together was I actually watched another YouTuber who kind of did his whole review on the movie, or his analysis on it. It was very similar to how I was seeing it, and his was way more detailed, and he kind of put words into my thoughts. But after I watched that, I kind of do understand what it's about, and it's not about what I thought it was about when I was initially watching it, which is interesting. But it is about. It does have a point, I believe. It does have a pretty important thing that it is saying, but I don't really want to say what it is because that kind of defeats the purpose. I think it's
just gonna let people figure it out for themselves. Okay.
Interesting, definitely. I mean, I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about art, isn't it? Yeah. Nobody's ever wrong.
But to me, it makes perfect sense when I do analyze it with that thought process. It's like, oh yeah, it is that, whatever.
You want to take a look at the chat here? Looks like we're starting to get some comments showing up. Zach Hayes, finally got my hands on the Suspiria Blu-ray. That's finally on Blu-ray. Really enjoyed it. Love the visuals. I definitely see the inspiration on other filmmakers of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Suspiria, right?
Yeah, it's great.
You like that one? I honestly like. I remember being kind of disappointed by it the first time I saw it. Like, just, I guess as far as the story, like feeling like it was pretty weak. Like, I didn't really get invested in the characters or really what the movie was about so much. I loved the visuals and I loved the atmosphere of it.
It's definitely kind of a fairy tale kind of way of
yeah.
Fairy tales kind of present their stories in a very non-literal sort of way, and you kind of don't really have a story. It's more of just like a moral, I believe.
I guess so. I don't know. It's just one that I didn't really get that engaged by, other than on just sort of an aesthetic level. And yeah, it's just one that they were kind of like a lot of sections, you know, where it was trying to develop a little bit of a story or mythology, and I just wasn't really that interested in what I was seeing. But then it would get to some really interesting cinematography, and I'd be like, oh wow, that's really cool, or that's really well done. And I rewatched the film fairly recently and was surprised that I had like more or less the same reaction, just that I didn't feel it was a very strong film just in terms of what it's about. Mm-hmm. But it was one of the most well shot movies, one of the most well designed movies that I've ever seen. But I really don't feel it's scary at all. Like there isn't really anything in that movie that scares me.
I mean, I kind of look at it the same way of like The Conjuring or Insidious. It's fun horror, not so much
Yeah,
scary horror. It's more of like a spectacle, because all the blood that's shown is so bright and saturated that
yeah.
you
And the murders are so elaborate and
can
insane.
So I kind of look at it more of just that kind of movie. I don't really look at it in the same vein as like Hereditary or Possession from the 80s.
Oh, Possession. That's a movie that scares you.
That's great. That was a great one. I thought.
Yeah, it is.
The build up it was very similar to the build up of like Exorcist and Hereditary, and then it shifts in a kind of a very unexpected way towards like I think it was the third act, where like I don't yeah.
It's a movie that goes so many different directions at so many different points. It's wild.
That's one of my favorite things about those kind of movies, when the plot does not stay consistent in the one thing. It's always kind of like going over here and going over there. I mean, I don't mean I don't like non-focused movies. I like there to be a focus, but I like all the focus to, when it turns, to all be like fluid. They're not just turning for no reason. They're turning because that's where the story is supposed to go. It's supposed to go in a strange direction that you didn't expect. And that's why I loved Hereditary so much, because it was such a slow like turn into another kind of movie. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was an abrupt shift towards like the into the first act, but the rest of the movie, as it was changing into something else, it would happen very slowly, and it wasn't really clear what was happening until the ending. I was kind of like, oh, that's what's going on. Oh man.
It's very carefully set up, and very deliberately executed. We'll just run through more of the chat here. Zach Hayes, need to go back to The Green Mile. When I have to choose, I always put in Shawshank, which is not a bad choice. But yeah, I was very impressed by Green Mile. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a much more powerful movie than I was expecting.
When it comes to comparing the two, it's like they're not really movies I can compare to, because to say that Shawshank Redemption is better than Green Mile is so good that it doesn't mean anything if it's better, because it's already like amazing. So it just means that Shawshank Redemption is just that much more amazing. So
I don't know which one I think is better, and I don't really mind all that much. I like them both, so that's. Yeah.
I know which one I watch more often, and it is Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I've seen that one more times.
Yeah.
It was only just this week or last week. I can't remember which. But yeah, just fairly recently that I finally watched Green Mile. But it is a great one.
The only real reason that I hesitate watching it like more is because it is a pretty like draining movie, because it's so emotional. The whole movie.
It's got some intense bits.
And because Shawshank, I find that a little more of a fun kind of movie, and it's just a little more. I don't want to say upbeat, but it is. I guess it is a little more upbeat. But Green Mile is so just melodramatic that you can't watch it. It takes me like a year to watch it a second time. I have to take a year or two in between viewing, because it's kind of like at the end of it, I'm like, oh, I am sad.
Yeah. Chaz's Dungeon just watched Inherent Vice. It was like swimming in a slur of words and sentences. Have you seen Inherent Vice?
I have. And
what did you think of it? Because I really did not like it.
I watched it twice, and I just have no idea if I hate it or not. The reason why I don't want to say I hate it is because Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favorite directors. And I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, he's one of the best ever.
I don't feel comfortable saying I hate one of his movies, but there's nothing I really like about it.
Yeah, I kind of felt. I don't know. There were some performances I liked. There were some moments and scenes that I liked. But yeah, I've never felt this. Like even watching Phantom Thread, which I thought was really a return to form for him. You still haven't seen Phantom Thread?
I need to see that.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's great. But he makes long movies. He plays around with form and storytelling a lot. But I've never really seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I was bored by or that I found like excruciatingly self-indulgent. But Inherent Vice was the one time where I felt that, where probably like by the time I'd hit the 90-minute mark, I was just like, how much longer is this? I was really ready for it to be over, and it just kept going and going and going and going. And the longer it went on, the less willing I was to go along with it. But I have only seen it once, and I am, despite everything, I am curious to watch it again, to try and go into it and see if there was something I missed, because it's definitely one that seems to be fairly polarizing. There are definitely people that are big fans of that movie, and that does, yeah, make me curious to try and go back and see it again and see if it was something that I missed, or if it is just, you know, a movie that is not going to speak to me, you know, for whatever reason. But yeah, it was one that I did not like the one time I saw it.
Well, honestly, the book and Paul Thomas Anderson that even said that he designed it to be a movie that you can't quite follow. You're not supposed to follow right away.
Yeah, the book is kind of the same way, but I enjoyed the book, you know. I enjoyed the incomprehensibility of the book because the language was so playful and enjoyable. And I just didn't really feel like the movie kind of was able to create images that matched Pynchon's words, you know?
Right. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it a third time, because the first time I watched it, I tried to watch it as hard as most focus as I possibly could, and I kept kind of like phasing out.
Just drifting off. Yeah.
Second time I watched it, it was even worse. I would start watching it, and then I just give up, and then like a day or two later, I'd start it again, and I'm like, God, I did this the first time.
Yeah, that never happens with Paul Thomas Anderson movies either. Yeah, I'm always so transfixed by his films. And yeah, Inherent Vice was one, just like, yeah, I found my attention wandering constantly, which I was shocked by. I was shocked that happened during a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. But, you know, I don't hold it against him. I don't demand perfection from, you know, every film or every artist. I am perfectly willing to accept a failure from one of my favorite filmmakers. You know, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Right. For every bad movie, a great director has like 3 good movies. You know, 3 or 4. I mean,
yes, sir.
Except for Paul Thomas Anderson, he's got 1 bad movie.
Yeah, in my opinion, of course.
Yeah. I even liked Punch Drunk Love, but apparently a lot of people didn't like that movie.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. It's another one that definitely has its fans. I think it's still my favorite of his. I love that film.
Boogie Nights is mine. Actually, no. I think Boogie Nights is the one I can watch the most. But I think the one I think is his best movie is There Will Be Blood. That I think is
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
You're cutting out a little bit, so.
Hope I don't.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But I said you there?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
One I haven't seen actually is Heart 8 / Sydney.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. His very first movie.
That was like on hold for like a year because the editing nightmare for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whatever production company because I think it was a cable company that put up money for it. It was they were like God, what was it? They were like a pay cable service that wanted to get into the film making business because it was during the American indie boom of the 90s. And Paul Thomas Anderson, managed to like strike a deal with a cable company to give them the money to make this feature film that they would release into theaters. And then, that once he started editing, they took it away from him and recut it and retitled it. And he was really upset by that experience.
Yeah, and I think while that was in kind of editing limbo, that's when he decided to write Boogie Nights as kind of like his escape, just stress of that project. I think he even started shooting Boogie Nights before that holiday was even released.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Took that long?
I think so.
Yeah, makes sense. The Hard Eight, yeah, I think was something of a traumatic experience for him.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and it's one I keep forgetting is a film he made because yeah, it was one that I did not really. It was the only other one that I did not really enjoy of his.
Really?
Yeah, some good moments and some interesting characters and some really good performances.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a movie that I didn't find very well paced. I didn't find consistently engaging. And yeah, one that like my interest in it, yeah, at several points, yeah, started to wane and kind of go away. And then yeah, it was one that yeah, just by the end of it, I was kind of like, well, he would go on to better things after this.
His next movie was a movie that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I have several favorites of his. Yeah, Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love. Those are some of my all-time favorites.
I didn't love Magnolia. I need to see it another time. I've only seen it once, and when I first saw it, I kind of went in with too high expectations, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Because everyone said it was like one of the greatest movies of all time, and I'm like, all right, sure, I love him as a filmmaker, but when I saw it, I'm like, it's even a little too much. He had too many ideas, and I don't think they all flowed together quite as well as he was trying to do.
That's one of the things.
It wasn't a movie that I can.
That's one of the things I like about it is its exuberance in that it, even though it's a 3-hour movie, it's a 3-hour movie that tries to pack almost more than it can hold into it. That's one of the things I find so exhilarating about it and so engaging about it.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Hello?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh.
It's a good movie. Just yeah, I'm here. Out again.
Oh, hello. Okay, you're back now. Hello.
Okay. Let's check out some of the comments again.
Okay. Let's see. Where was I before?
We were talking about.
Oh yeah, Inherent Vice, Chaz's Dungeon. Which version of Donnie Darko did you see? I've only seen the original version. I never remember that hand.
I don't know which one I saw because I don't remember the hand either when I first saw it. That's why when I saw it recently and saw the hand there, it surprised me. I'm like, where did that come from? How long has that been in the movie? So maybe I saw an alternate one, alternate version.
You're kind of slowing down.
Or maybe that was the really sure. I don't know the history of what like the
You still there?
What?
Your voice was kind of like going like. Looks like you're back. Okay.
All right, so maybe you know what the Donnie Darko.
Sorry, what? We might have lost Chase. Whoop. It looks like he dropped out. Okay. See if he comes back. Hello?
Am I back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I hope I stay back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's looking okay now.
Okay, cool. So why don't you talk in case I cut out again?
Okay. I don't know which version of Donnie Darko I saw either. And yeah, I haven't seen it since I first saw it years and years ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't even know what is the director's cut and what's the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I think the theatrical cut is like 2 hours or just under, and the director's cut I think is closer to like 2.5.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what the differences are. I've only seen one version. I don't remember which one. Taking a look at the comments here. Chaz's Dungeon. I believe that it's the sentimental and evocative feeling which really makes Donnie Darko great for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, that's why I still love it. It's a movie that's kind of got me into that kind of weird, more surreal kind of filmmaking. I just, as a growing as a filmmaker, I can realize that it definitely has its flaws. But that doesn't like ruin the movie for me. It just makes me aware that even a classic movie can be flawed, and that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
And a movie that I like can be flawed.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that, I don't know, I've had movies that, you know, I loved when I was younger, and then I've gone through periods where I've been more demanding and a bit more, I guess, perfectionist as a viewer, and noticing every kind of like little flaw in the movies that used to obsess me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't really care anymore, where even the movies that I used to love, that I now look at and think like, oh, they're so heavily flawed, or they have so many problems. And now it's just kind of like, but they held such importance for me, and I don't want to forget that. I don't want to forget, you know, what kind of feeling they once gave me, or what they once kind of inspired in me. So I think, yeah, it really is just kind of embracing the effects that a certain work of art or a certain movie has on you. And it's less about, you know, just trying to critique it and trying to say like, oh, it's a perfect movie or it's a flawed movie. There's no such thing as a perfect movie. You know, every movie's going to have its flaws. Everyone's going to feel that different things are flawed in different ways. And to me, like, even the most heavily flawed movie can still produce a powerful feeling inside of you. And that's, I think, the thing that should be focused on is what it makes you feel, how it makes you feel those things.
Oh, absolutely.
Zach Hayes coming in on Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko has kind of lost its luster for me as well. Seen both versions, but I like the original cut a little more. So yeah, we got a few fans of Donnie Darko coming in a little hot.
Yes, please defend it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Chaz's Dungeon. Yeah, very silly. There are now channels dedicated to spelling out the explicit, and controversial content in films. Interesting. So kind of like, I guess I could understand if it's like a parent's guide or something.
What does that mean? Like,
I think maybe just like content warnings, I'm guessing. Saying like, there's this scene in this movie where this happens.
Oh, so yeah, like a parent guide.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it meant like it was explaining the reasoning behind the meaning behind gratuity.
Oh, I don't know. I never pay attention to this stuff, so I can never really tell you. Chaz's Dungeon, that's exactly why I love Persona. The enigmatic quality is what hooks me about that film. Same here. Persona has long been one of my favorites, and I think one of the movies that first really got me into film as like a serious art form.
And again, a movie I haven't seen yet. It's on my movie list.
You have not seen Persona.
Oh, but it's definitely on my list.
Okay, well, it's one to check out. It's a really great one.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's some incredible sequences in that one. Just the most experimental kind of filmmaking, but also like the most intense, like subtle, realistic drama balanced at the same time. Go on, man. Cortex Engineer. It's not like it's fully explained, dude. We don't know what the universe is here for or why. So in that context, we wonder, along with the director, the nature of the realism in this theory. I wonder if that's in reference to something we were talking about earlier.
Probably Donnie Darko.
Oh, Donnie Darko?
I think so.
Okay. Zach Hayes. I've heard this one theory I kind of liked about Enemy. I probably saw that same YouTube video you did. It was talking about like being stuck in a woman's web or something and having a fear of women.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, so the whole thing is just kind of a metaphor for somebody who is kind of like a seducer or something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give any too much. If anybody doesn't want to hear this part, wants to just kind of watch it for their own, tune out for a second. But basically, the spiders are meant to be like in the beginning of the movie. He's watching a woman step on a spider, right? And every
Uh-huh.
time he's confronted with a powerful woman in his life, whether it's his wife, his lover, or his mother, we always see a spider. And like the following scene or the previous scene, first one we see the woman with a spider face, and then the second
Yeah.
we see when after he sees his mother, we see the giant spider over the city because it's the mother spider. And then at the end, when he finds the key again, that key was to go back to that one weird sex dungeon or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
and he went right back to his old ways. That key basically signified that when he opened the door to his wife, that was just the fact that he's going to be he's a lady killer again because he stepped on the spider in the beginning, and the spider represents women, so the spider's afraid of him because he is a lady killer. So essentially the play it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting theory.
I mean, it's a very simple theory, but it's just the movie creates this very complex story around that.
So that would also mean that both of the characters are actually the same guy.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
just the guy who goes with the girl, the lover, is basically who he's cheating on with. And when that character dies in the car accident, he basically
Yeah.
and remember when his wife asks, "It's her again, isn't it?" She's referred.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's because it's happened before. And so it's a cycle. It's going to happen again at the end of the movie because he finds the key again to that weird sex club or whatever that was.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a metaphor for his
It's a loop essentially.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for his infidelity and the urge to cheat.
As soon as he kills off his doppelganger, he comes right back.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He didn't really kill off his doppelganger. Doppelganger kind of like, I guess, dies with himself or whatever.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a fun, interesting theory.
Notice how there's never a scene where the two doppelgangers are in the same scene together with a third person. They're together in one scene together talking, but no one ever sees the two of them in one place. When one walks by, the other one walks by a different direction. And like the wife is watching at the university or whatever. She never sees both of them. She only sees one at a time.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I have more fun with it not interpreting it in any way.
Yeah. It's more fun that way, but it's also more fun to kind of look at it in a different perspective, that you kind of can look at it through a completely new lens. Even if it's not the correct lens, it's still a different lens to look at it at.
Yeah.
You could even, some people even argue that the movie is a literal giant spider invasion.
That's a good one.
They're kind of like slowly infiltrating, like alien spiders are slowly infiltrating the world, which I actually like that idea better.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love spiders are like my phobia, and so having movies about giant spiders are always kind of interesting and scary to me.
Oh yeah.
That ending shot though, that I didn't quite expect that. So when that happened, I'm like, oh. And notice at the very end of that movie, you see his face. He has a look of sort of like, it's not fear. It's more of kind of like, here we go again.
Yeah, kind of like
a,
resignation, like.
Yeah, like almost kind of a weird grin too. Like he's got like, oh boy, he's not like disappointed. He's more of kind of like, oh you know.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the best endings to any movie ever. It's certainly one of my favorite endings of all time.
Yeah.
Zach Hayes here in the comments. Suspiria seems very cliche compared to today. We were talking about Suspiria earlier. But I'm sure it wasn't really at the time because it came out before Halloween and stuff. But yeah, the acting isn't the best.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. It did kind of predate a lot of those kinds of films. It kind of came after a lot of stuff like that had been produced in Italy. There was kind of a long tradition of giallo films in Italy with like Mario Bava. And I think Lucio Fulci had started doing stuff at that time, and many other directors. It kind of started out just as like very violent mystery films, which slowly kind of evolved into something else. The director started making more supernatural kinds of films like that, especially Mario Bava. And Mario Bava was kind of the first one to to do the really expressionistic sort of cinematography like that, the very Baroque visual style with a lot of gelled lights and colors and exaggerated set design. And Dario Argento was kind of the one that took all of those elements and put them all together in a way that nobody really ever had before. And Suspiria, I think, yeah, was kind of the movie that you could kind of trace to being a lot of people's like introduction to that style of filmmaking. It was kind of like the movie that broke it all out. But certainly, yeah, it had a lot of precedent, but it did also, yeah, predate an awful lot of stuff that came afterwards. Indeed. I'm certainly not saying it's an unimportant movie. It's a very important movie. It's just one that I wasn't really that hooked by, unfortunately, on an emotional level.
Fair enough.
Oh, and Zach Hayes, I wasn't saying Shawshank is better. Both are great. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Oh, people can tune back in. Yeah, for those who haven't seen Enemy. Okay, yeah, I think we did have a couple jump out for a second. Brendan Samoes, sup? How's it going? Oh, and Chaz's Dungeon, they're gore description videos. What we were talking about earlier. I guess for people who are squeamish about gore, there are videos that kind of describe how much gore is in a movie.
I understand.
That's interesting. I didn't know those existed.
It never bothered me too much. As a kid, I always found it kind of unrealistic. Whereas, I knew it was like it definitely like kind of like disturbing, but I knew that it looked fake. I knew that's not how real bodies look like. But it just kind of maybe imagine what it would be like if it was real. And that was more scary to me, was the images that it made me think about in real life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really too bothered by like movie gore, because I always knew it was fake. I was just bothered by real gore. That was way more frightening to me.
Mm-hmm. Zach Hayes, I enjoyed Possession as well. Thought I figured it out the first time, then saw something else the second. And Chaz's Dungeon, I got that the film intended to be nonsensical, although I felt that the film was so nonsensical to the point that there wasn't really a reason to care. Oh, is that... I think that's in reference to Inherent Vice that we were talking about earlier. Because then, yeah, the next comment is Zach Hayes. I couldn't get into Inherent Vice. I got vibes of Fear and Loathing, but I would give it another shot. I have the film somewhere.
I can see Fear and Loathing parallels a little bit. Certainly in its the fact that it doesn't quite have a continuous story. It's more of like vignette.
Uh-oh.
Am I cutting out again?
Jason's cutting out again. Oh, there you are.
Okay. Am I here?
Yeah, you're here. Okay, sorry.
Maybe the heat is like messing up the...
God, yeah, maybe. It's boiling out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both kind of 60s films. They're both kind of drug films.
And they both don't quite follow a strict narrative.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, they're both based on novels.
Yeah.
Zach Hayes, I love Punch Drunk Love, but I think I like There Will Be Blood a little more.
Yes.
Started Heart 8, then they took it off Netflix.
Oh, man. I didn't even know it was on there at all.
Netflix used to have, like, everything, man. Like, their streaming service used to be so cool. They still have a lot of good stuff, but, man, I remember back in the earliest days of Netflix Instant, you could find pretty much anything on there.
I remember when on Hulu, you can watch movies for free. Like, you didn't even have it be a membership.
Oh, yeah? Is that how they did it?
That's how I first watched The Big Lebowski. It was just I watched on the website right there. I clicked on.
Oh, wow.
Movie. That's how I first saw that movie.
You're kidding me. Just watching it for free on Hulu.
Yeah. They just were in TV shows, movies, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow. Definitely the golden age, or maybe not the golden age, but like the chaotic best days of streaming are over now.
How popular it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, yeah, let's just throw movies out. No one's going to watch them. Like, oh, whoops. We're actually losing a lot of money.
Yeah, now everything's kind of fractured off. Everybody has a streaming service now, and yeah, there's just paywalls everywhere.
Yeah. There's so many streaming. I can't even keep track of all the streaming services now.
Yeah, God, yeah.
They have like genre-specific streaming services now, like Shudder.
Yeah, which is what my brother is watching right now. This guy that used to host like I guess like a movie, like a B movie late night show. I forget what it's called, but I think the guy's name is Joe Bob Briggs. He's like hosting some kind of like movie night tonight that is live streaming on Shudder, and he's actually watching that in the other room right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd never heard of Joe Bob Briggs, but he was showing me like some videos of his the other night, or like snippets from his TV show that have been uploaded to YouTube. Like we watched his interview with Gary Busey, which is really interesting. Yeah, it was really cool. I'd never heard of him, but it looked like he kind of hosted this cool little show. It was just a big movie fan. I'd recommend, yeah, anybody watching who has never heard of him to check out some of his stuff, especially his Gary Busey interview. That's really worth watching.
Okay.
Let's see. Oop. Oh, Brandon Samoa's big fan of your videos. Also, I adore Japanese cyberpunk. Hey, right on, man. Oh, Zach Hayes. Oh, sorry, I don't know what that's in reference to. They just add and try to clarify some scenes, like we're dumb, and some of the music is in a different order, has a different song. Oh, sorry, I don't know what that comment is in reference to.
It's about the. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, it can be kind of tricky, yeah, sorting everything out in the chat sometimes. Because we'll start talking about something, and then we'll get to later in the chat where, yeah, another conversation line has been picked up at another point.
Apologies.
Oh, Chaz's Dungeon. Possession was a film I initially found to be one of the funniest, absurdist comedy horrors I had seen. Although on my third watch, I was surprised by how mentally draining I found the film to be. However, there were still scenes that were so ridiculous and extreme that they were hilarious.
This is true. I mean, I wouldn't call them hilarious, more of just kind of just like, whoa, they're really putting it all out there.
Yeah, I think there are definitely some funny moments in Possession that are, just so strange and so disconnected from reality that I think they do come off as funny.
Like the whole scene in the subway where she's like, I think it was one take, if I'm not mistaken, where she's just like throwing like the milk around and
yeah,
like screaming like a crazy person. I mean, I can understand how that could be pretty funny, but kind of like looking at it in the perspective of someone who's like suffering like a mental breakdown or whatever, it's not quite as funny.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like other moments, like I'm trying to think. I just remember there's like moments with Sam Neill where he's like interacting with other characters, and they'll do something or say something like kind of weird or bizarre, or some of the dialogue to me is almost written or delivered in a way that seems like it's kind of meant to be some sort of punchline, or like it's meant to generate some kind of laugh. Mm-hmm. I think just especially in some of the dialogue scenes, there are a lot of moments that do kind of strike me as oddly funny in some weird way.
I can see that. It's been a while since I've seen it. I only got to see it on like a really like a bootleg version of it, so I didn't get to get like the full quality. Like I haven't seen. You said you had the Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, I've got it on Blu-ray.
We should watch that one of these nights.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, Chaz's Dungeon. Have you both seen any films that you can only see at screenings? We did see one recently that was like one of your associates had made or something like that, right?
The all puppet movie?
Yeah, an all puppet horror movie.
Yeah, that was interesting. It was called Zed. What was it called? Frank and Zed.
I think that's right. Yeah.
It's on IMDb apparently. Yeah, it's on IMDb now. It's still technically under post production because it's not finished. The version that we saw was not quite finished yet. There's still like some green screen stuff they haven't completed yet.
Yeah, I remember that.
But for the most part, the movie is completed. It's very interesting. It's very fun.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I was surprised.
The puppeteer on that, who actually I think he designed all the puppets and he also mainly puppeteered them. He actually did a puppet for one of my short films.
Yeah, you were telling me about
Yeah,
that.
and hopefully that will lead to a bigger project later down the road. But for right now, we realize that the kind of scope that we're looking for, there's no way we can do it on a low budget. So
Yeah.
put it on hold. We'll come back to it though.
Is the short on YouTube?
Yes, it's on, but it's not on the channel that I'm streaming on right now. I'm actually not. You know what? I don't think it's actually available. I think I took it off because I
Oh,
think
really?
it's supposed to be a proof. I wanted it to be a proof of concept, and I didn't really want that idea to be like out there. So I actually,
Ah,
it was there for a brief moment, but I don't think it's in there anymore. If anybody's interested in watching it, just let me know. I can send you the private link, but I don't think it's public.
okay. And I think we should probably bring this stream to a close because I gotta get going to go see Isle of Dogs
Oh
pretty
yes,
quick.
yeah. Tell me how that goes because I'm very interested in seeing that.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure I'll end up talking about it on a future stream.
Sweet.
Zach Hayes just posted, Filmstruck is my personal favorite streaming service. Has all the special features for the Criterions and has the classic TCM stuff.
Oh, wow.
Filmstruck, yeah, it does seem like it's a pretty good service. I would like to get an account there if I'm able to in the near future.
All right. Well,
so any plans for like what to watch in the future? Like, is there anything coming to theaters you're planning on seeing?
let's see what is coming out. Well, Venom looks kind of fun in terms of like horror, in terms of like superhero movies.
Okay, Venom, interesting.
Yeah, only because it's the guy playing it I'm interested in because he's a great actor.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, and then Mission Impossible 5, 6.
Something, I don't know.
And then I don't know if any. I only know of like mainstream movies that are coming out. I don't know of any like really interesting indie movies that I've been. Oh, Mandy. I'm actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because like the director of that, he did one of my favorites of that year, Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that I saw the trailer for that. I was thinking of not seeing the trailer because I didn't want to spoil it, but the trailer didn't really spoil anything because I had no idea what I watched.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of like just as intrigued.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be wild. I'm really looking forward to that one.
It reminded me of the Void from a couple years ago meets.
Oh yeah, yeah, the crowdfunded one. Meets what?
Meets Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah, it looks like it's what?
Like the visual design looked like the way like Hobo with a Shotgun looked, with a very like really like saturated reds.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very interesting combination of artfulness and just genre craziness.
Also the Predators. The trailer did not impress me, but
okay, I haven't seen the trailer for this one.
It's disappointing because it looks like a TV movie to me.
Oh no.
Yeah, like even less so than Predators. Like Predators, when I saw the trailer for that, I wasn't like super intrigued, but I still liked the movie. This one, when I saw it, I'm like, boy, this does not look. Which is weird because I love Shane Black. I think he's a great writer and director. I don't know why. And he has weird casting choices too. Look at the cast on it. It's an odd, weird choices, I guess.
Okay, I really don't know anything about this new Predator movie. I haven't seen the last couple ones they did.
Oh, really?
I think I've only seen just Predator 1, which I really like. I think Predator is one of Arnie's best movies. And then Predator 2, which I don't think is very good.
I like Predator 2, actually. I think it's pretty fun.
You like it?
It's fun.
Okay.
It's not good, but it's just fun.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, and then Eli Roth has a new movie coming out, a children's film.
Oh, yeah. I saw a trailer for that one. That looked interesting.
I was not expecting. Like the last person I would expect to do a children's film.
Yeah, and it looks really like Spielbergian.
From the creator of Hostel.
Yeah. The Green Inferno.
A family picture.
That's an odd, yeah, change of direction for him, but it looks like he actually did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm definitely going to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I'll probably end up checking that one out too. I think it's called The House with a Clock in Its Walls, and I think it actually is produced by Amblin Entertainment, so it's a Spielberg production. So that's really wild.
Eli Roth said that the movie is tonally similar to, he says, Time Bandits.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if that is a correct way to categorize it, but if he tries to make a Time Bandits kind of movie, I'm down for that, because there are enough of those movies.
Yeah, like darker kind of children's fables.
Like Legend.
Oh yeah, Legend gets pretty intense in a couple spots.
I love Legend. That's one of my favorite fantasy movies.
Yeah, I think definitely visually it's the best fantasy movie, like just aesthetically, that has ever been put on screen. That movie looks incredible.
Have a better looking movie, maybe Blade Runner.
Maybe, yeah. More Ridley Scott.
Definitely Blade Runner, actually. But still, Blade Runner was so good looking that anything else, it's going to be...
Yeah, tough to top.
Legend is still amazing to look at.
Yeah. Especially the whole sequence at the end when they're in the Prince of Darkness's castle, his fortress. All of that is just like, even to this day, just eye-poppingly beautiful. It all looks so good.
They need a better Blu-ray transfer, though, because the one that's only available is from like an old master, and it doesn't look very good. Because I know the movie can look amazing, but the master that they used was, I guess, like I don't know what they do. It just doesn't look correct.
The Blu-ray I have, I think, looks pretty good, but I think because of the director's cut, because so much of that movie was chopped out for the theatrical release, they weren't able to find as high quality materials for the deleted director's cut footage. So yeah, when you watch the director's cut, it's kind of like the quality goes up and down quite a bit because there was so much that was trimmed out of that movie for the theatrical release. So all the additional footage, has kind of a rougher look, but like I just think back to like that first shot of like the little goblin guy who kind of like who steals the unicorn's horn.
Yeah,
like the movie kind of like opens up on a close up of that character's face, and just like the way they wetted down like all the makeup to make it look like it's the skin that's like all sweaty, and like the textures they gave it looks so amazing. I've never seen a fantasy movie that looked like that tangible and real. It's incredible. If
I'm not mistaken, they didn't. I don't think they shot it on 35 millimeter. I think either they shot it on a 35 millimeter, but within the Technoscope format. But I know they didn't shoot it in a typical anamorphic. I think it was a different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it might not be. It had been in 70 millimeter, but I know it wasn't like the usual. It was a different. It was a. You know how there's the spherical lenses, there's the anamorphic. This one apparently used a different kind of lens. I'm not exactly.
Oh, okay.
Like, I assume it was like the one they used for like Space Odyssey, but just not on 70 millimeter.
Oh, like the Panavision lenses, like Ultra Panavision, the like super sharp ones.
Yeah. I think I can look into that, but I remember somewhere I read that it wasn't shot on normal lenses.
Huh, interesting.
Alien was the same way. They shot with some pretty I don't even know what kind of glass they were using on those, because every single shot is like the clearest picture of any movie I can think of.
Yeah, and it's like those movies take place almost in complete darkness, so like the focus pullers they must have had or just must have been supernaturally gifted to just get everything that sharp.
I don't even like to imagine that, because as a person who does camera work, like I know how hard it is to get it even in daylight.
Yeah.
But, anyway, you're not gonna miss your movie, are you?
No, but we should probably bring it to a close right now.
Yeah, good idea.
So yeah, it's been a brief little stream, but yeah, Jason and I just wanted to hop on for a second and do a little bit of a discussion. And I'm sure, I'll be doing more stuff in the future. We're gonna try and make this a weekly thing, right?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, cool. So hopefully, yeah, we can work out times where everybody can kind of show up, and that will be the ideal like days and times.
Hey, figure out how to do a poll of where everyone lives and what would be the best times. So we can kind of calculate when's the best streaming time.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be a bit of a trial and error thing,
Yeah.
But that's okay. But yeah, I am kind of on a time crunch. I'll have to leave here pretty soon. But yeah, thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you, Jace, for joining me.
Absolutely. Adios.
And yes, and I'll see everyone next time. Have a good one, one and all.